Welcome back to IFA Insights, where we sit down with industry professionals to discuss what independent and financial advisors need to know to grow and stay ahead. Today's episode is about the next generation of clients, an area a lot of advisors seem to be neglecting. From young professionals to next-gen heirs, these clients think differently, communicate differently, and expect more than just investment returns. So I'm joined by Nathan Mateer, President of Generations Financial Management. So Nathan's firm stands out because they are trying to translate financial goals into real-world goals by leaning into a deeply human perspective. He's here to share what's working, what's not, and what every advisor should consider as they build for the future, especially around those next generation clients. So Nathan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having.
So first off, let's start with, most of our advisors were trained to focus on the retiring the retiring client, because that's where the assets kind of come to fruition. Why do you think it's so important to start building those relationships with a younger client?
Yeah, I think the probably biggest opportunity is with the younger client. Then focusing on the retiree or pre-retiree is because they're, from what we've seen and who we've talked to, the knowledge of money that used to be passed down from your parents to you or from your grandparents, or how it was passed down from your grandparents to your parents and the parents down to the next generation, there's a chain that got broken, I think, to where parents didn't talk to their millennial kids or the Generation Z about how to manage money, what money things they were going through, and how to think about all of these different pieces of your financial life. And so there's a lack of knowledge and a lack of trusted source of where to get it. And so what's happened is we've had these millennials and Gen Z in the workforce making money, and they don't know what to do or what's the right thing to do. And they don't have a source above them to ask, or a trusted source to ask. And so they've gone out and tried to find advice, or just said, not my problem now. And so because there's that missing link, there isn't going to be these ideal clients 20 or 30 years from now who are millennial and Gen Z. Our job is to make them into those ideal clients, to educate them and teach them about the money systems, so that I'm not out looking for these clients. I've built them up so that they can now have the life of financial independence that they've thought and that they've probably seen their parents have, or seen their parents not have, which is why they're now working with us. And so the opportunity is, I don't know how many clients are going to be there a couple of decades from now. We have to do the hard work and build people up to be the ideal clients. And so that's where I'm putting forth my efforts, is who is out there that we can build up into the ideal client, because that's going to be longevity for them and for us in the industry, rather than saying who's retiring and let me get their portfolio so they can start taking assets off of it. Becomes a much harder business sell on that side.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because I remember in my 20s and 30s, there were so many conversations I had with friends just explaining what a 401k was, and like, don't walk away from free money.
Right. I mean, what's a 401k? I mean, anybody who's gone through open enrollment, I mean, your first time, you're like, there's 3 health plans. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me talk to my coworkers. Let me talk to HR. Like, hey, I have extra money. What do I do? Like, you don't ask your parents. Your parents never told you, like, really their financial struggles. Maybe you read between the lines and found some, but the advice isn't approachable to them, and so they ask, or it's on a friend to educate others. Guys, you need to take this seriously. You need to get your 401k match.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, one of the things that you guys have really worked on is fee for advice. And with that, translating those numbers that are something that's like meaningful for clients. So can you talk about how you're writing financial plans for those next generation clients and how they're connecting to their real life?
Yeah, so we believe that money is not the end. It's not the goal of this. Money is a tool for you to accomplish something in your life that you're trying to reach. And so as we construct financial plans, it's not all about a dollar amount or how high can we get it to go. It's about, are you doing the right consistent habits that allow us to start to plan for the real life events? So recently I helped a younger generation couple decide they can go down to one income and how to downsize a house, or in the process. And so that isn't a dollar sign financial addition to their life. They're lowering their income and simplifying their life. But their financial plan was, we want to simplify. And so I was able to show them how, by being aggressive in their savings early in their career, they can take a slower step back. Other things we do is connect, hey, I have these stock options and these units, and they're on paper, but they're becoming reality over this next 12 months. And so we're able to tie those to, hey, do we need to save for retirement? Do we need to upgrade a car? Hey, is this a event that we can have that house upgrade we've been talking about? Is this a liquidity event that allows us to take that trip that we dreamed about and then still be smart and still be protected with the rest of our funds? And so it's about taking the dollars that are moving and educating them that the client is in control of it. It's their choices, and laying out the choices of, hey, we can save for the future, we can spend for today, or we can hit this middle term and let's label it. Hey, this is the next house, the next car. This is going down to one job. This is having financial independence. This is starting our own business or buying a business. So we take it off the dollar amount, the investment amount, the portfolio, and connect it to a real world goal that gets that feeling and momentum and that desire and passion out of the client. And when you have two people with the desire and the passion to accomplish something, the money tends to follow. And so that's how it plays out in reality, is people achieve their goals faster than what we set out in these plans, because we're just able to find that desire and passion.
I want to go back. So dollars, you just talked about dollars. Big hurdle for other financial advisors is dollars. The theory that these clients don't generate enough revenue. How would you approach that conversation?
Yeah, it's about how you price it. And so a lot of advisors I've talked with, it's all about the assets under management, and younger generations have been trained. There's a fair amount of them that hear fee on assets under management and shy away. And have been taught that is a bad language of somebody to be involved in or work with in terms of finances. But what we've found is what we have is professional advice. What we're offering is not just portfolio management where I charge a percentage fee. And people are willing to pay for professional advice at fixed hourly or ongoing subscription rates. And so whether it's we do a plan for somebody and there's a one-time fee for 3 different meetings, or we have ongoing monthly fees for clients that we have scheduled meetings with throughout the year over certain topics. Financial planners, financial advisors need to view what they're doing as giving professional advice and charging even hourly rates appropriately off of that, so that you're covered with your time. And then we live in this industry. We know, hey, if I can get somebody to save, max out a Roth IRA for the next 20 years, like, hey, we're gonna have a decent bucket at the end of this. But being able to communicate that to somebody and get your flat fee and say, I covered my time, makes it possible. And all you're doing is laying down a trail of breadcrumbs for later in life, when maybe there is an asset under management play in the future. But even then, some of our most rewarding relationships can be these flat fee engagements, because you have an outsized impact on getting somebody set up for their long-term future.
So let's talk about prospecting those clients. How are you finding them?
Yeah, that's a hard one. Gonna be honest. So you said we talked about things that don't work in the intro, so I'm gonna start there. I went pretty aggressive this year on trying to get in front of people on LinkedIn, and that failed. So LinkedIn became an echo chamber of just financial advisors, and I had more tangential financial people try to book meetings with me to sell me on providing access to my clients to their services rather than people actually. I got 0 prospects from it. So don't try to find them on LinkedIn. Okay. What's worked the best is when we have a younger generation client who gets it and is a center of influence for their peers. Because like, let's go back to the beginning. People don't know who to ask. They look around who their coworkers are more than their friends of, hey, they seem to be smart or good, or maybe they know somebody. Let me go ask my money question to them. And so we have a few clients who I would call just centers of influences to their peers. And they have been our biggest lead flow of next generation clients. It is hard to get in front of them, naturally. Like, majority of their time is spent working or with their family. It's hard to get in front of them online because most of us are not going online to figure out our financial problem. We're working and with our family, and then we're probably online doom scrolling, not trying to get educated.
And money's so personal.
It's very personal.
Like, you want somebody you can trust for that.
Yeah, and so there's plenty of people who trust a talking head on a YouTube video or on a screen. We found that can prompt people to reach out more than it does prompt them to take it on their own. So making sure we have good center of influences and asking them, hey, is there anybody else that has asked you, like, would you mind passing on our stuff to them? We're still open to new clients. And then, that's our best one right now. And then stay off LinkedIn, because you're going to get sold stuff rather than helping people.
So let's say we're a next generation advisor, maybe in our 50s or so. What kind of advice would you give that advisor about trying to connect with the younger generations?
It's not as intimidating as I think the people want to say it is. They are well educated in their field. What they aren't well educated is in financial systems. And like you said, they need to trust somebody. And so it's about having patience and taking on an educative view of how you approach them. So instead of saying, oh, of course we know we do need to invest funds for the future, it's showing them a simple chart of compound growth. Most of these younger generations, we don't have exposure to that unless you've sought it out. And so I'd say take it slow and try to teach. They are smart, they can reach logical conclusions, and they just don't know the financial side. So our job is to educate them on the systems, where their money needs to go to give them the best probability of financial independence. Take it slow, and start at the foundation level, and then you're going to build the trust, build the relationship, and probably have a flourishing practice.
So last question, how do you see the advisor and client relationship changing over the next 5 to 10 years, and how can advisors prepare their practices for that?
Yeah. So I think it is moving away from more of what's, I think, seen in the public as a sales role. Oh, your financial advisor sells you a portfolio or sells you a product or sells you on something that's supposed to benefit your life. And moving to financial advisors and planners, or what they need to be doing is giving and viewing what they do as giving professional advice. So I think the next iteration of the relationship is that more similar to an attorney and a client. It's hey, I have a question for my financial planner, my financial advisor. They need details in advance so that they can do the critical thinking and we can come together and have a solution that works for us, rather than, oh my goodness, I have some money and I'm supposed to invest it. What does that mean? It is becoming a professional advisor to these people's personal money side of their life. And so how do you position yourself to it? You start doing it in your own life. You have to first be like, hey, cash flow matters. Run a trial on yourself. Like, hey, do I understand my cash flow? Do I understand my savings rate? And then can I communicate that down to others? hey, here's why we need a good savings rate. Here's what an emergency fund means. Here's how we position for this. Here's the risks out there for the path you've set for yourself. Here's ways to make it efficient, more efficient to accomplish the goal. So you have to dive into the planning community. And if you want to get more bold, dive into the financial independence community and hear how they talk about finances. Because it is less to do with what is my portfolio doing for me and more about how am I controlling my finances to make sure my life can be how it needs to be. So don't focus on the portfolio as the point of entry. Focus on let's manage your personal money as the point of entry. And then as a byproduct of that, we need to save and a portfolio is going to come. And all of that is giving professional advice. I professionally advise you on these financial matters. And then later on, there could be a byproduct portfolio to manage, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is setting a client up to reach their financial dreams and goals and making sure that path is efficient and effective and protected from the risks out there. So how do you dive into that is just, there's plenty of literature out there. Just find your financial planning association chapter near you. Go talk to those people, go listen to that content, go find the Financial Independence or the FIRE podcast, listen to how they talk about money, give yourself exposure that is not typical industry. And then weigh, is that good advice or in my experience, have I experienced something different? Can I give somebody better talking points or better advice around those situations and just dive in? It's scary, but it's worth it.
I think we have another advisor that gave, I think, the best analogy for this. It's like clients don't go, or say you're a patient in this scenario, you don't go to the doctor and ask them which MRI should I get, which machine should I use to get to the goal, right? There are a lot of investments that will solve a problem, but it's the decisions you make along the way that are more important. Having the investments, but not necessarily is it this provider or this one. Those aren't the big factors in whether or not you're successful. So this has been such a useful conversation. Thank you very much. I think what we're seeing over and over is that forward-thinking advisors are focusing on relationships and less and less on assets as the industry is changing and the advisor is changing overall. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about how to reach out to the next generation of clients, don't just talk money. Let's talk about life. And if you're not sure how to start, this episode is a great place to begin, as well as many of those resources that Nathan just shared with us. And if today's conversation was useful, please like and subscribe to IFA Insights. And thank you again, Nathan, for this insightful conversation.
Thanks for having me.